What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. Hopefully, the weather is calm and tame where you are. And if you're dealing with one of the storms that are ongoing around the world, hopefully it clears and gets better for you. It is time now for the Monday edition of the Climate Update for Monday, January 22nd, 2024. Yes, we have gone back to doing daily climate updates. I'm going to try and keep doing these daily as long as I have enough time to do them because I run multiple channels. And taking a look here, we're going to start off in the UK today. That's right, we talk about weather that is ongoing all around the world. So if climate and weather is something that's interesting to you, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. All right, the first thing we have to talk about is how Storm Isha is now moving out of the picture for the UK and Ireland, but directly behind that comes Storm Jocelyn. Isha caused a lot of destruction. There were really high winds, winds up to over 100 miles per hour, and it caused major power outages. And now here comes yet another storm. You can see it here, out here in the Atlantic. Jocelyn, it is starting to form, and we can take a look at it on the GFS model, and you can see here, there goes Isha. Here comes Jocelyn. Now, Jocelyn is a little bit more to the north than Isha was, but again, it's going to cause strong winds. It's going to cause some wet weather, maybe even some more thunderstorms. Yes, it's something that you really have to keep an eye on. Behind that, there's even indications that there could be another weather system as we get later into the week. All right, moving over to the United States now. We have to talk about some warm weather. Yes, it's going to get really warm down in Florida. Temperatures are going to get into the mid 80s, and low temperatures maybe could be at record high minimums. It's possible down in Florida. Read the headline here: Orlando weather. Record heat expected this week following Florida's cold snap. See, it's about the extremes. It's not always about, oh, well, the planet is warming. Why, yes, the planet is warming. It's the extremes of what's going on. You could go from record cold one week to record heat the next week. And Florida, while it wasn't record, it was very cold in Florida. Now you're going to warm right up and thaw out and go into possibly record heat. All right, going back overseas for a second. Electricity demand surges to record levels due to freezing weather. This is what happened over in Ireland, and apparently the electricity, the amount that they use, the demand peaked at 5,557 megawatts at 5:50 p.m. on Thursday, breaking the previous record set on December 14th, just back in 2022. That's just absolutely crazy. All right, remember last week there were a lot of storms in the United States? Well, all of the winter weather, it did lead to some fatalities and deaths. More than 90 people are dead after fierce U.S. winter storms last week. I mean, I get it. Deaths do happen in the winter. They can happen any time of the year with weather, but it does seem like last week was particularly bad, and unfortunately, we may see a few today because the ice situation, it's pretty bad in the central region and portions of the Midwest right now. More on that in just a moment. All right, let's take a look at the national satellite picture. Here's that system that has set up from the central portions of the United States right on up through the Great Lakes. It's kind of going to create a boundary where multiple systems will ride along this. The first one's the one that will have wintry weather and has been having wintry weather. I saw a picture, or not a picture, a video in the St. Louis area of a fire truck that, when sliding on ice, went around in circles and literally slammed into someone's parked car in their driveway in a house. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And that icing threat is going to continue to shift northeast. The I-80 corridor across Ohio and Pennsylvania, you will need to pay attention for the possibility of icing tomorrow. The West Coast, the atmospheric river is still in effect. It started back up again over the weekend, and it's just continuing and is going to continue. You can see here, here's that system in the central region. You see there's quite a bit of moisture with it. You can see precipitation continues on the west coast and the Pacific Northwest as well. Lower elevations rain, higher elevations snow. Let's take a look at the national hazards maps. You can see widespread ice and winter weather advisories that now extend into Pennsylvania. So this is something that we are concerned about because the icing potential, it does not take much ice to cause major issues on roads, and it's already happening, and I'm concerned about Pennsylvania and Ohio tomorrow. Interstate 80, a major truck route. Anytime you're talking about ice on Interstate 80, it's a recipe for disaster. Take a look at the West Coast. Flooding, yes, it's possible on the West Coast. And you can see up here and the Pacific Northwest, yep, snowstorm. It's going to happen, and quiet in the southeast for now. That will change later in the week. And as we continue on here, no threat of severe weather today, but there is a marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow down in Texas and extreme southwest Louisiana. Then, as we go to the next day, that will shift over towards Louisiana. And you can see here from Texas through portions, even just extreme western portion of the Florida panhandle, you could see some severe weather. It's not a slight risk yet. We'll have to see if it gets upgraded. Instability is not all that impressive, but a few cases of severe weather are possible. All right, taking a look at the national picture on the GFS. You can see heavy rain today across portions of Texas. That's going to continue tomorrow as well. And take a look here closely. Here's that icing potential from Michigan, Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, right on into Pennsylvania. I'm concerned about that. It's showing some snow here. I'm more concerned about the icing potential along I-80 and points northward, even just south of there, like around just State College, Pennsylvania, maybe even just south of the Poconos. You could see a brief icing, but mainly I-80 northward is where the icing potential is going to be. Look behind us, system. Yep, there comes another system that sets up, and it's just going to be a parade of systems all week long. We're going to see some heavier potential rainfall in the mid-Atlantic. We have to watch that. There's still some snow on the ground, and prior to the snow last week, the ground was pretty well saturated, so there could be some sort of a flooding potential that could set up. And of course, we know there's a flooding potential in the south. Then we come to the weekend, and there's this system at the end of the weekend. Not certain that it's going to transfer to a coastal storm. Not certain it's going to be cold enough for snow, Pennsylvania, but it's something we have to watch. Let's rewind for a second. You can see the parade of systems continues in the west coast. That's something that we're going to be watching all week. And as stated, weather will get a little bit more active in the southeast towards the end of the week with these parade of storms. The Florida Panhandle, you could see some thunderstorm activity. Not certain these fronts will make it all the way down to South Florida. All right, moving on now. We want to take a look at what's going on with the excessive rainfall potential. You can see Texas, yes, it's there today, even portions of Arkansas, and then day 2, that becomes more expansive because you are going to see heavy rainfall. And even day 3, Louisiana on up to southern Kentucky. Yes, New Orleans, places like Nashville, Tennessee, you could really be seeing some heavy rainfall. How much rainfall? Well, here's day 1. You could see 2 to 3 inches of rain in Texas. Day 2, yeah, another 2 to 3 inches in the Dallas area. It's something we're watching. Let's go to the 7-day total. Look at this. We've been talking about this day after day, and look at this. It's continuing. Very heavy rainfall amounts. Rainfall amounts of generally 3 to 5 inches across the Gulf Coast region, but somewhere in between could see anywhere from 5 to 7 inches with isolated amounts up to 10 inches where training segments set up. And look at this, up into the mid-Atlantic region. Anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half of rainfall is possible. And with the ground being saturated, with there being snow cover, that could lead to some minor flooding problems. It's something we will have to keep an eye on. But of course, the biggest flooding threat is going to be down here in the south. And incidentally, this is right where the drought area is. We've been talking about this. Look at that. It's right where the drought is. So it is really going to be beneficial to your drought conditions. All right, let's briefly talk about the longer range and take a look at what's going on. This is still the same update from yesterday. Above average temperatures will continue in the 6 to 10 day range in the Great Lakes and the Northeast and the West. It's going to be the classic January thaw, and you can see above average precipitation in the East. A lot of that depends on what's going to happen with that coastal system I showed you on the GFS in the East for next week. If that coastal system happens, places like North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, you could see slightly above average precipitation. In the 8 to 14 day range, you can see above average temperatures are going to continue across the Midwest, and I see that lasting into the first week of February. Then maybe possibly we might see another cold snap come in. And in the long range, incidentally, Florida for some reason will be slightly below average temperatures. There's going to be a little bit of an unsettled pattern that sets up down there. And it's not really showing up here on the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, but I think it's going to be there generally south of Orlando. The West Coast atmospheric river conditions will continue in the 8 to 14 day period. You may get a break in between, then it's going to start right back up. Flooding, mudslides, high elevation, heavy snowfall. all at play, even windy conditions and below average precipitation in the Northeast. Yes, you're actually going to get a break where the ground can maybe dry out a little bit. That's a good thing because there has been a lot of precipitation over the last month and a half to 2 months in the Northeast, and we don't need any more precipitation up here in the Northeast. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's climate update. We may have another one again tomorrow. If not, we'll have one again on Wednesday. If you enjoyed this update, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. And of course, share this with anyone who's interested in climate, weather, anything climate in general. I'm sure they would be glad to see this. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, if you're in the path of any of these storms, please stay safe. And if you're in the path of the ice storm, consider staying home today. Thanks for watching.